Hey everybody, it's Vision, and today we're talking about, do graphics really matter in 2023? Graphics are already reaching a whole new boundary, teetering on what's realism. Have you seen the Matrix demo on the PlayStation? That's just Unreal 5. That thing's astounding. Now, of course, everyone needs more Keanu in their life. And I mean, look at him. But before we really start, we have to categorize our games. We got to separate them from graphics and art, and you'll see why. Now, of course, there are some overlaps. For example, Borderlands. Borderlands 3, Tiny Tina's Wonderland. Graphically, it's pretty good. And at the same time, it's a very strong artistic style. Now, it is cel shading, but still an art style in this case. Now, let's say Cyberpunk 2077 is the high end. We got Portal in the middle and Doom 3 in the bottom. Now, of course, there are worse graphic games below that. Now, I do want to clarify. I do love games that are artistically beautiful and even simplistic, like Undertale, Stardew Valley. These games are great, but this video is talking about why graphical games also matter, as long as there's love behind them. Could you really imagine playing Red Dead Redemption 2 without the current graphics? It really adds to the story, where some of the most impactful moments of the game is where Arthur's just traveling from horseback to a location. If you play the game, you know exactly what I'm talking about, and you felt it in your heart too. Dead Space would not be the same if you had graphics like Breath of the Wild in it. The type of the game should also match the visuals. Now, I'm a sucker for games with great graphics, games with RTX behind it that have been really a game changer on what we can really achieve. Now, do you need RTX to play games? No. But does it add something to it? Definitely. No, wait, hold on. Don't leave that comment just yet. The game industries forget why we love graphics. Here's an example. The Last of Us, the PlayStation 3, 4, and the 5 that's still coming out. Maybe upgrading from PS3 to PS5. Maybe I can see the difference. 4 to 5, that's just a cash grab. It doesn't really add much to the game, as the graphics are fine enough. Now, the developers, Naughty Dog, behind Last of Us, they put a lot of love into that game, and it's such a good story. But the issue isn't with the story itself. It's just they're making 3 versions of the game. They made Last of Us Remastered, and now Last of Us Part 1 and soon Part 2, where for the PlayStation 5, they're actually overhauling it a lot. The graphics, insane, and it goes for a lot of what I'm trying to sell with this video. But the issue is, we already had games so recent. Why can't we just go and remaster your other games, Naughty Dog, your older ones? But they're older games that they should remaster. Games like Sly Cooper. Now, I'm biased, it's my childhood game, but come on. One of the games that they've actually done this for was Shadow of the Colossus. A great game. They remastered it, or remaked it, and it came out good. It looks great. It gets another generation of people who haven't played the game to be able to play it and actually experience it. Because when I take a look at an older game, I don't really want to play it so much. Now, one of the latest disappointments of a game is Battlefield 2042. This game had pretty good graphics, particle effects, sun rays, all that jazz. But the game itself, no. It was missing so much content. It was barely any fun, had few game modes. It changed the Battlefield formula too much, and it's changing its brand and identity. Now, I have gone back and played it, and its gameplay has gotten better. But it's kind of too late. Practically the opposite of what just came out is Modern Warfare 2, one of its main competitors. This game is already one of the most solid Call of Duties in recent releases, and the RTX graphics actually adds to the game. The DLSS actually boosts performance for some people. Now, I'm not the type of FPS player that plays on the lowest graphic settings with the lowest resolution to get 500 FPS while my monitor is only 60 Hz. I enjoy playing the highest quality that I can while also getting the most performance that I can. A good balance. I am an FPS player, but I also do love a good story game. And most recently, God of War, visually, the game goes for a realistic environment and truly showcases what it can do while at the same time keeping great performance. Now, of course, it is a console game, so it is capped, but it still runs pretty great. Now, of course, not all games need high graphics. For example, I still play old school RuneScape and Portal, for example. games that still draw me in but are not artistically or graphically intense. Portal RTX is a great example of games that graphics don't really matter, but they really help the experience. I have played Portal 1 back in the day, and I recently played Portal 1 and the RTX version that both provide the same experience, but the RTX provides just a bit more, and that bit more is visual gameplay. Now hold on. I know you're gonna say 99% of the reviews is performance issues. Now, I do understand that, but we'll get into that. Portal RTX is a modded version of Portal with RTX Remix that was created by NVIDIA themselves, the same thing that they did for Minecraft RTX and Quake 2 RTX. Now, I'm not saying to go back and change all the old games and retexture them and stuff like that. This is just an example of having a game that just has updated graphics, but the exact same feel and the exact same heart of the game. Now, you can like one graphics more than the other. For example, the Halo Chief Collection, I actually prefer to play it with the older graphics because I grew up with those graphics. But imagine the younger generation, they might lean more towards the newer graphics, but they still get that old school game experience. It's beneficial on both parts, especially because Halo had a single button that you can swap it on the fly, which that was honestly a great idea. Minus their multiplayer being broken, but that's an entirely different story. I would love to see more of these RTX updates added to games like Left 4 Dead. Imagine an update to Fallout 3. Now, I know a lot of people are die-hard Fallout fans, and Fallout 3 is one of the greatest games ever made, but the graphics are really dated. There are mods that fix that. I can imagine RTX could make it prettier than Fallout 4. Now, someone can go and tempt me to tell me to go play Fallout 1 or 2, but its graphics are so rough that I honestly wouldn't take the time myself. I love remasters or remakes if there is love behind them and not for cash grabs. Referring back to The Last of Us as a cash grab, and we don't need to start talking about the horrid of the GTA Trilogy remake, which one day I do eventually want to play when it's in a better spot, because I never played them growing up. Now, graphics do matter more than people actually give credit for. Now, I appreciate the work behind the artistic games like Hades, Breath of the Wild, Ori and the Blind Forest. They are beautiful games, and I really appreciate them. However, I also appreciate the technical work put behind creating RTX and the hardware for RTX and AMD stuff. These are two different breeds of people that put in work and hours to make these games happen. And I'm talking about artists and animation, and I'm talking about those programmers and the people who make engines and things like that. I always feel like a game that's graphically amazing but has shitty gameplay isn't the programmers or artists' fault. It's usually the managers who are forced by their bosses, who are pushed by the CEOs, who are then pushed by the shareholders to push out these games. And usually they're not in a good spot. They're usually not even ready. Here's an example: Cyberpunk 2077. I said enough for that. Asmongold recently said, game companies are like boats. Small boats can turn faster, but Titanic-sized boats like Blizzard, they take forever to turn and correct any errors. What do you guys think? Do game graphics matter to you? I'd like to hear your comments down below. Just let's have a good conversation about it. Thanks for watching, everybody. If you liked the video, please subscribe and leave a like, and have a good one.